everybody, and welcome to GenFriends. I'm your host, Cheri Passy from Carolina Girl Genealogy, and we are so excited for tonight. So I'm going to quickly introduce the wonderful panel that always comes and supports and talks and comments about whatever topic that we are talking about. Of course, it's relative race. So we got Melissa Barker, our archive lady. Hello, Melissa.
Hi, everybody. So glad to be here.
Oh, we are so happy to have you here. And we've got Laura Hedgecock from Treasure Chests and Memories. Hello, Laura.
Hi.
It's good to
I guess I lost my voice just then.
Right. Okay, you got to get it back. We got lots of talking to do. We've got Jenny Hawran from Like Herding Cats Genealogy. Hello, Jenny.
Hello, happy to be here.
So excited to have everybody here. And last but certainly not least is Mary Kircher Roddy from MKR Genealogy. Hello, Mary.
Hello.
Our Seattle expert, which we will talk about in a minute. But the exciting thing about tonight too, besides talking about day 9, we got 2 special guests. We've got Callie from Team Black from season 12, and we've got Eric from Team Blue. And look at his name, Eric Rip Jr. That's so great. I love that. From Team Blue season 13. So they've come on to help us. Oh, day 9 was just so fabulous, and it's always nice to have you guys come on and help us, because you know what day 9 felt like.
Yes,
day 9
absolutely.
There were a lot of emotional triggers that definitely popped up in this episode, I think, for
Seriously.
a lot of us. Yeah.
I am sure. So tell, what is it like? I mean, you wake up day 9. Do you have a list in your head of who you haven't met yet and hoping to meet, or experiences that you want to have?
Patrick and I, we were really at peace with where we were at and who we had met. I, of course, I had met I met cousins on day 8. So I wasn't planning on being, 2 days in a row at all. And Patrick was really, really at peace because he had just met his dad on day 7, and he was, So, that it wasn't so much that, but it was, for me, well, no, am I jumping the gun? No, you asked me what day 9 feels like. So that's what day 9 feels like. Felt like for us, we were really at peace, and our head was in the game on day 9.
Oh yeah. What about you, Eric?
Our head was in the game, but on day 9, I was freaking out.
Were you?
Because I knew who was going to be there waiting for me.
Yeah.
And it was, it was a combination of stress and not stress, because I knew exactly where we were going. Like, I have a friend that went to the University of Scranton, and we're coming from New York. Like, I know I've made that trip like a gazillion times. I did not even look at the map. Well, I looked at it in the beginning because I was about the end, but it was like that last hour, that's when I really started focusing. So it was, we knew we were safe, like as far as going into day 10, because we had the most wins, and but it was definitely, I was stressed. I was stressed.
Yeah. I can imagine, because you have those hopes, and even if I mean, they still could pull something on you. Somebody might have.
Well, yeah.
Right. I don't and so you just never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
On the race.
You do.
That is the
Exactly.
truth.
Yep. So the winner of day 9 got a plane ticket. So that's what they were.
What a cool gift.
Oh,
I wish that was available when I was in the race. That is a very cool gift.
That is a cool gift. Exactly. And
I think it would make you more able to focus on day 10. Yeah, because it's not as much of a goodbye, because you have those tickets in hand.
That's a good point.
And you're not worried about winning the prize money. You know that you can go visit somebody, especially if it's a parent. Obviously that's what I would have done.
Yes. So I
would have gone to Hawaii.
You would
That's where I was going.
So we go in with blue team with 0 strikes. And they had 3 wins behind them. So if anything happened and those wins needed to come in, I mean, they had 3 wins. So that was great. And we've got red team that had 2 strikes, green had 2 strikes, and of course, black team had 3. So we know from the beginning that they are in the bottom. And so, and we and Team Blue knows they got it made.
They're safe. It's
They're
a
safe.
great feeling.
Yeah.
It's really a great feeling.
You
Knowing that
I don't know
you
what
don't.
that's like. I don't know.
That was the knowing, like Team Black. I mean, I feel like knew that they knew their position, but they still fought. Like they obviously everybody wanted to get that prize.
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah.
But it was fun seeing they had a little bit more banter this episode than they've had a lot. There's not been a lot. A lot of the fans have been.
Yes, that's true. They want to know where's the banter. I think it's just the way they've edited it. I'm sure there was banter,
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, it's not just, sometimes it's the team, like Abe and I we wanted to just love everybody. And, Justin from Team Red put a little bit of fire under our wings. And so like, I don't want to say it was personal, but we wanted to make a show. So seeing that, so that banter was there naturally.
Yeah.
Everybody's very nice. Like Team Blue seems to be the most enthusiastic.
Oh, they're so funny.
Like they don't hide their emotions.
She's apologizing for.
She's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, but yeah, we won. As a competitor, I love that. Like.
Yeah, I think that's. It was great.
I think we mentioned it last week, but I do also just love Kaylee's whatever's happening. Come on, Uncle Dave.
I know.
So cute. Like all braced up. I know.
She's all so cute.
Yeah, exactly. They've got such a great relationship. It's really fun. Yeah. So I was trying to think. They were all just kind of saying goodbye, which is hard. And did anybody receive anything this time? I don't think.
I don't think so. Not at the
not
the next
morning.
Mm-hmm.
But Team Green, I loved that they started talking about. Her daughter started asking her, "How do you feel?"
Yeah.
I wish. I actually probably know why they didn't ask that, because I would have gone on for like 20 minutes. But like that was a very beautiful moment with mother and daughter.
Oh yeah.
And I thoroughly loved that. That was like that started the tear flow.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. The rest of the show just
that was the first one. I will agree with you there.
Yeah,
the first one.
It was so emotional. It just was from the get-go. And of course, it's day 9 and you're thinking, oh, they've got all these expectations of who they want to meet, and we want them to meet who they want to meet. And then they showed Jen, and she was talking about it was kind of a hint. You kind of knew who she was going to meet because they showed that clip, right? Wanting to meet her mom, and all she had was the photo, but she wanted to meet her mom. And so I thought that was great. But they got stuck in a traffic jam, and then they started playing around with the chicken. So I thought that was really great. Taking the chicken.
That was great.
That was cute.
But that is what happens, when you're doing the race. When Abe and I did episode 1, we killed it.
Yeah.
At that first thing, but we hit accidents. There was cars on fire, cars hanging up, like there was literally, and there's nothing, like we were like, we're good. Like we are so far ahead of everybody. Like we're good, but you know what? You're not, because you never know what the race is going to throw at you.
You never know.
You don't know what the other teams are doing.
What I thought was so interesting, I think this is where she said it, was in that little thing, is Jen said that she wasn't expecting to be loved so much.
I know.
Yeah.
You don't.
You don't.
I mean, you think you're just going to meet people and it's going to be nice, but you're not prepared for the onrush of love that they have for you.
Yeah.
Is that what she was saying?
Yes.
It's the fact that, like obviously my mom knew about me, but like knowing that my dad knew about me, knowing that my mom left clues for me to try to find her. So when you find that person that you've been wanting to find your whole life, and they're happy to see you, there's like you've won the lottery.
Yeah.
Like winning $1 billion, which would be nice. It's not the same. I would take meeting my family over that every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what she said, that, you have no idea if your mother and father want to meet you, but when you go on a show like this, somebody on the other side of that door is on there to meet you, so you're, it's just a different experience. So, but yeah, that was really sweet.
Through the seasons, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jenny.
No.
Or speak over you. Some, you can see that love right away. Some are a little bit more tentative, and which is a natural human reaction. But so it just depends. But for Team Green, I just feel like every relative that they've met has just been so wonderful to them and just loving and just accepting. And
me too, but I really had thought that I hadn't expected that out of Jen, because I thought that she just took the love in stride. And so I was really happy to have her be so honest about it. And Callie, she used your phrase. She was like, I'm grateful for everyone who showed up.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, I caught it too. I was like, yeah, you showed up.
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought that was just a nice insight into what somebody feels in that situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What did y'all think of that challenge?
I loved it. Wait, what was it called again? Ball pit brouhaha.
It was the
brouhaha.
Looked fun.
Brouhaha. I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. I've actually liked a lot of the challenges that they've done this year. They've been tough. Like Callie, when Callie did her finale, when she won, they had, in my opinion, they had a tougher schedule, or a tougher run of challenges than Abe and I had.
Oh.
And I like a challenge. So
yeah.
I'm sorry. That was Abe and I going in, we got to watch I think it was 2, maybe 3 episodes of Callie's season before we left. And then like the last one was like the day before day 0, day 1 for us.
Oh, okay.
So I fell in love with them watching, because you guys were not expected to win. Thaddeus was not expected to win.
Yeah.
Abe and I finished strong. A lot of people were like, oh, I think you guys are going to win. Like, I love when the underdog, except when I'm competing, obviously. But I love when the underdog shows up and just kills it. So I did not have Team Blue pegged for, I'm always rooting for Team Blue. I root for the individuals, but I did not have them until a couple of weeks ago of even having a chance. But they're finishing strong.
Yeah.
When you get to the later episodes, that's when Callie showed up. That's when Thaddeus showed up. That's when Abe and I showed up. When everybody else was getting tired of each other and having all these issues. The teams that win, those are the teams that bond and get it done. And
Preach, Eric.
Fun to watch.
Okay, I have another question for y'all. I was noticing the distances and trying to figure out, like Team Blue only had 45-minute distance. And I was thinking, is that a disadvantage? Because if anything goes wrong.
Well, exactly. It's an advantage and a disadvantage. If something goes wrong, that's when, we had the same. Abe and I, when we were headed to Wisconsin, we had like 3 hours or 2.5 hours more than Justin and James did from Team Red. But they went west and then went north because they were going to Illinois. we were Eastern Illinois, we got caught in all that traffic. So, it can be a blessing and a burden. If you've got no problems and you're going short distance, you're good. But one little wrench is a big wrench.
And I mean, it just interestingly, because I happen to know the area and how they would go, and they are from Seattle. So they really know the area, and they would know the other roads to be able to take if there were a problem, whereas somebody in a strange city would have no idea where to go.
How to get to the detours because they don't
that's
GPS.
Team Black was also unfamiliar.
Yeah, dude, that 40 minutes or whatever they gave Team Black, like you're in LA County. Like that is the worst. Like I know Cheryl, you understand DC traffic. I've understood it. I've been in Atlanta traffic. There is nothing in the world like LA traffic. But they got it done. I was surprised though with that time.
They got it done. Absolutely. They got it done.
Did they only have to go a mile in 40 minutes? What was the distance?
Yeah, I know, right?
That was amazing. Because first you think, oh, that's really just too short, and maybe it's not fair for the teams. But then when you realize what freeway they're on, and they're not going to go very fast anywhere, it's like, oh, wait a minute, that's probably a punishment for them to get on.
Yeah.
See, well, but that's the map skills,
right?
Versus, like Waze. I use Waze all the time, and there's times when it's taking me through like a residential neighborhood, and I'm like, why is it doing that? And then it shows that there's an accident, and it's backed up for 40 minutes, and you get around it in 3.5 by cutting through a neighborhood.
Exactly.
So that's the power of the maps.
Exactly. But they don't have those. So
no.
And that's the issue. That's the problem right there. Yeah. So and what about Team Red though? Oh my gosh.
What
the
challenge. That dirt devil that came through.
The challenge that was blown away.
Yeah.
That was scary.
That was scary because they were there. It'd been one thing if it had come through and knocked it all down when nobody was, like the crew had just set it up. But
right.
They were there when it happened.
Right.
You could tell how shaky Callie was afterwards. Yeah.
Those dirt, I know when Callie initially had said it was a tornado, and then her uncle said, hey, it's a dust devil, but I've seen them.
Me too.
And they're scary. I've seen a full blown on, but I've also seen those dirt devils where they just show up out of nowhere.
I used to live in New Mexico, so yeah, I've seen them. So
I understand I was a little bit disappointed on that decision. So the medical thing, would that happen with Team Black? That's one thing.
Yeah.
But that was Mother Nature. That was not, something that happened to a member. That was just, I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't work something out.
Right.
Is there anything in the rules when you all are fixing to do this? Is there anything in the rules or the contract or anything about the challenges that says, if you can't complete the challenge or acts of nature or anything like that?
As much as we can go into, Callie, please correct me if I'm wrong, but as much as we can go into, we don't know anything. We don't know. They can do.
We really know nothing.
We don't have a lot of say in what's going on.
Yeah.
So,
I was discouraged too because exactly what you said, Eric. I'm like, yeah, but this is an act of God. This isn't
right. It's not okay. And sickness may be an act of God, but that's a specific. You couldn't do the challenge because somebody wasn't feeling well or whatever. That was God throwing balls and
we've had
pads and everything in the air, and
other weather, traffic issues. I mean there's a storm or whatever, the roads washed out, and that's an act of God. I mean,
probably just
we've had it all.
a good way to do
I know,
it.
but
you
this
know, that
seemed
was
like it
fair.
almost penalizes. I mean, I kept thinking, well, there's got to be another way. Like, what is their average time and things? You
Right.
know,
No, and I was trying to
Think about that too. They
I
took
was
their
trying to
average.
think about it being fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but it's tough because that challenge part is a big deciding factor.
Exactly.
You know, and so I'm not
That's
mad
who.
at them for it, but I was like, oh, I wish
You haven't lived through the eggs.
That's right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The last survivors of the eggs.
Oh, too funny. I really don't know what they could have done. I mean, I just
everybody was okay. I know that like they had said, and they haven't like disclosed fully, that one of the cameramen or the producers was actually hit
by it.
And but they didn't say. They said nobody was hurt bad, but it didn't say how bad that those potential injuries might have been.
Now I know the cameraman has posted some stuff from that on Facebook, so he's fine. So he was able to post. So I guess the producer must be.
I mean, you see the guy running behind the tree. The storm's like following him. I'm like,
I know.
Oh my god!
Yeah, somebody got some footage.
Like, and you can't. It's not Twister. You can't fake that footage. Like, like it was like you're watching. Like, I can't even imagine you showing up at a challenge and like your whole challenge is getting blown like 4 friggin' acres away.
I think there was one year where, like Mary was alluding to, it was like hail or something came down and they couldn't finish that one. So it isn't unprecedented.
There was the year where there was a tornado warning and they had to leave the area, and so that's what happened. And that's what happened to them too. They just had to time them. So
well, maybe it's just the rules, and that's what
maybe there's just no other way they can figure out how to do it. I mean, and another first on the season. There's been so many firsts.
Right.
But it was interesting because they had to get to the challenge. I mean, if the thing had come, I don't know, 15 minutes earlier or whatever, and taken out the challenge, then
I still think that they would have done the same thing. They would still did the same call.
Yeah, they still could have given him the thing, but they wouldn't have wasted the time getting to the challenge.
They could have just told them
your
just go to the relative because you can't do the challenge. So maybe.
And we also don't know like how much the maximum time was versus what everybody got. So we don't know how much of a penalty that was, whether that was like 5 minutes or 20 minutes.
Very surprised when they got third place.
But don't give it away yet.
Sorry.
I know. It's hard.
Because they told him they weren't going to let him know until
I've been so excited. Like I was watching TV with my mom. And she something that she wanted. It was like a British show she wanted to watch. And as much as I wanted to go watch Relative Race, I'm like, my mom is sharing something with me, so let me.
Absolutely.
But when I watched about 2 hours later, and I was just like, that's when I contacted you. Like, oh my god, please let me come on the show.
Exactly. And maybe another way they could do it too was just give them the same amount of time as the team that took the longest.
I was thinking like split, you know, like split the difference, like give them an average time to see how they did. But I mean, it's tough. It's a tough situation.
Oh, it's a very tough situation, and I wouldn't want to make that decision for because because
you're darned if you do, you're darned if you don't.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Because no matter what they did, especially the fans would have gotten upset.
No, not the fans.
Not the fans. So, because let them have their.
They're a passionate bunch.
But the best bunch. The best bunch.
Yeah, they're very dedicated.
But somebody had commented today, about something. I was like, about the feeling that she gets when she sees the show, and I'm like, I'm a fan. Like, like you may be as much of a fan as me, but you're not going to be more of a fan of me. And I totally understand. I told her, I was like, the people the support that we get as contestants on this show, it helps inspire other people that have questions that may not want to do the show, or they have hesitations. It gives them that, yeah, you know what? I want to do this. It's not all sugar and honey, you know. Callie's experience with mine are two different experiences.
Absolutely, they are.
And we get people that are, you know, like I get groups that are like asking me to talk about, and like a lot of them have anger issues, and it is tough. And I'm like, it's tough for me, but Callie's like, no, they need to see that there's a good side too. It's not all a negative side.
Yep.
And you know, Callie, one of the reasons I love you so much, because you have given me the strength to try to give to others.
Good.
Because I'm in that blessed position. So you know, thank you. That's what this show does. It doesn't
it's like
your family together. It brings like-minded people together.
Yeah, very much so.
That's wonderful. I was going to take a detour really quick. And Callie, since we're talking about you and your support, you've got a Facebook group. You've got a group for people that, you know, an adoption group. And so I want to see would you like for us to put the link to that too?
Sure, that would be amazing. Yeah, it's for
Tell us about it for a minute. Tell us about it for a minute.
Sure. It was founded by a amazing woman that I grew up with, a fellow adoptee. Her name is Stephanie Byerly, or Stephanie Green. And she is located now just outside Milwaukee. But she founded this amazing group for adoptees where it's like just very open-minded, very focused on healing, and it's called the Adoptee Healing Collective. And what she's done is created this amazing community for adoptees. And we also do podcasts at least once a month with different adoptees within our community who are impacting one way or another, or their story. Their story is just one that needs to be shared. There are book studies. There's yoga. There is.
I love it.
There's
Callie's interviewed me.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah, that's
really
great.
Cool. Yes.
Awesome.
So check it out on Instagram and on Facebook, both the Adoptee Healing Collective.
We'll put the links in so people can find you.
Thank you.
They're a great group.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So anyway, going back to the race, I just had to highlight that for you. But yeah, go back.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Let's get to talking about what we really want to talk about, right? We want to talk about who was waiting for the teams. And you know, last week, if you happened to watch our our get together on day 8, we kind of gave some predictions for what we thought was going to happen. And dagnabbit, we were really close.
You were. You definitely were.
We were really close. The only one that we didn't get was Team Red, because who knew who Ashley was going to come back, except for, if y'all go back and look, we had Ashley on at the beginning, and she told us that day 9 was going to be really important.
Yeah.
And of course it's important when she's there.
But no, but it's like, how awesome is it when you've gone through 8 days of stress, not knowing who you're meeting, and then you have your challenge blown away by Mother Nature, and you get someone that's there that totally understands where you are at, what you've been going through.
I think it would be
what your emotional
status I think it's worth looking, like, giving a little more of a thought to about incorporating an alumni or some someone who's been
I love it.
On day 9. I think that would be really, really cool, because that one,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. That
hard.
blew my mind.
Kaylee's reaction was like,
Everything.
yes, that's exactly what it would feel like. Like just to like look into the face of somebody who has lived this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
absolutely. Absolutely. It was
She just melted into her arms.
She
I mean,
did.
I know.
just,
I
That
know.
was so awesome.
I know. It was awesome. It was
It's
It was awesome, but you
Yeah.
also saw the toll the day had taken.
Yeah.
And Dan too. I
It's
mean, not just
tough.
her, but Dan too. He
Dan,
was
Yeah.
at the end of his rope a little bit too, I think.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so we had said we have no idea who's left for them to meet. And so, we were right. There was nobody left for them to meet on the show. They just needed to.
But how awesome. They started off with that little cutout
Yes.
with her in the car.
Exactly.
And I posted on Facebook. I was like, I'm at my mom's house in Kansas, my birth mom's house.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this just going, no way. There's no way that this just happened.
Right.
And this is one of my favorite seasons.
Yeah.
The joy that has been spread, and they get, I like to think, they get better as they go along.
Exactly.
But
Yeah, but that was no little cutout.
That was a huge cutout. It took up the whole back seat, They probably couldn't even see out of the rearview mirror because that's probably a safety issue. And that's probably why we didn't see it every week in the car.
Right.
It was actually a safety issue. But yeah, I mean, they couldn't have planned that better because who knew? They didn't know what was going to happen. And so it worked out perfectly. It was the best. It was the
But
best.
Ashley had a hard thing to talk to Dan about.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But wait, there's more. Yeah. Who would like to? Laura, do you want to, since you brought it up, do you want to go ahead and let us talk
Well,
yeah.
Dan did not know that. I'm trying to find where I wrote it down. But anyway, Dan did not know that he had a brother that had passed away very young.
Yeah. So Ashley had a letter. Yeah, Ashley had a letter from his sister that he had met.
Is it surprising or not surprising that his mom didn't tell him when she met his mom?
Well, this was on the father's side. It was
okay, gotcha.
on the paternal,
That's why.
on the paternal side, and I agree with
They
you.
try to also keep that, for the surprise for TV. They try to keep that.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't supposed to know. This is a tidbit of information I'm not supposed to say. That I was not supposed to know. But I had one of my cousins that could not keep his mouth shut.
Yeah.
But it made it so much easier for me because I would have not have been able to say a word on day 9 if I didn't know who I was meeting. I had time to prepare myself for that.
Exactly.
I would have done. I literally would have just been a mess of mush.
Yeah.
Of mush.
Exactly. And so it made me wonder, because with Melissa's question, why didn't somebody tell him beforehand? Why didn't the sister tell him beforehand, or did they ask her to keep that?
They do. They try because they want to see the raw reaction. They don't want you to know who you're meeting. And it's not, it's not being mean. It's like you're going to meet that person.
Yeah.
But they want to get your, since it's not a scripted show.
Right.
That raw reaction is very important.
Yeah. I'm just thinking it would have been the same had she told him, when she met him.
It wouldn't. It wouldn't.
Yeah, because she just told him about his dad, that his dad had died. So, yeah.
That may have been too much to do both at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
And he wanted, and they wanted
a brother. He wanted to know that he was hoping he'd find a brother, remember?
Right.
And so that was hard. Go ahead, Mary. What else?
That's okay.
Yeah. I just wanted you to complete your sentence. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk over you.
I mean, they would have wanted him to interact with his sister. And if he had that hanging over his head.
Right.
That is a really good point. Yeah.
And he seemed at peace. Like, with everything that happened, like you're on such a roller coaster.
Mm.
You know, whether you're meeting all your family, or like you're like Callie, who never expected to meet family,
Mhm.
and you're supporting your adoptive brother, or your adoptive person. He obviously, it's going to hit him emotionally,
Yeah.
but like I like he was, having met your mom, like I didn't care. Like, I'm not saying I wouldn't been upset if I found out I had siblings that had passed away, but that time when my mom was there standing in front of me and I'm saying hello, that's all that mattered.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I get you. I get you. Yeah. So Team Red, they had a wonderful journey. So it was so fun to watch them. They were amazing. Who do you want to move on to now? Anybody want to?
Hmm.
Jenny, who do you want to talk to? Or Melissa?
Yeah, Melissa, you want to take one?
I was gonna say Team Green.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Team Green actually met she met her mom, and she got the question answered that we've all been waiting for.
I've been waiting for. It's like this drum roll moment.
Yeah.
Although I must say I don't know where they're getting their wigs from, but they don't look like any of them are wearing wigs.
Yeah, I know.
They're great.
And so that is phenomenal. But so it was a very, very great reunion. And so she got that question. She got some other questions answered as well. So
Exactly. And
she
it answers
and
some
she
of our
showed us a
questions
picture in the
too.
car of her mom that she's had. And so of
Yes,
course as soon as we get there and we see her, we know it's her mom.
exactly. Exactly. And it answers some of the questions that we had too, because we kept saying, does she know a lot about her maternal side? Because she's not meeting anybody on the maternal side, and they're not
Right.
saying these people just aren't ready to meet you. I mean, it's like it's completely crickets about the
Yeah.
maternal side until day 9. And it turns out that she said she doesn't have any other family. That's it.
I,
It's just her.
I,
It's her. Go ahead, Jenny.
yeah, I thought what was powerful for me with this one is that you could see the look on Jen's face when she was there sitting in the car and she sees that it's her
Yes.
mother. And
Yeah.
you can just see, like, she just had to take a moment. She's
Yeah.
like, like she came,
She
and
showed up.
and
She's
they're
there.
just, and
Yeah.
she's like having to get herself together and to get out of
Yeah.
the car. And I thought it was really
Exactly.
Yep.
powerful of
I agree.
like this this
Yeah.
culmination. She was hoping and thinking that she was going to meet her mom, but the reality,
Yeah.
she's like, oh my gosh,
If you
I
don't get out of the car, like when I like I said, I knew who was waiting for me. If I didn't get out, I jumped the fastest out of that car. Like the first, other before that, even with my relatives, it was the first. It was Abe's meeting his brother,
yeah.
and and I jumped out quick.
Me?
But if I didn't get out, I would never have gotten out. Like you gotta jump
You got it.
full
Well,
force
they
into it,
stopped
or
first and they had a
it's
prayer.
gonna eat you
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
stopped
Yep.
first and they had a prayer,
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
thought
That
was
was really
really special.
powerful.
Yeah.
It was
Agreed.
fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's tough because I don't want to have favorites. Like because I'm a fan of the show. I'm
Yeah.
a contestant, so obviously I always want Team Blue to do well.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
following the stories, like for Team Red, like that's my season continued. Like that's
Yeah.
an
That's
extra
right. That's right.
version. I talked to both members of Team Red,
Yeah.
via Facebook and Messenger quite often, and like I wanted to meet Callie. That was the one person I wanted. I wanted to meet
Oh,
Thaddeus, but like Callie was like the one person I met, and the
Yeah.
closest person that I've come to wanting to meet, like Callie, is Kaylee. Just
Oh,
because
oh,
yeah.
it's like it's an extension of
Yeah.
what
Of
I
your,
went through,
like
and
that.
seeing
yeah.
Yeah,
it's just
Absolutely.
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody else have any comments on Team Green before we move on? Other than it was just so wonderful. It was just,
Was.
I think it surprised all of us because I don't think any of us were really ready for that because, like I said, they really haven't mentioned. Other than at the beginning when they were talking about they wanted questions about the hair issue and they got that answer through their mom.
Yeah, like that's
That's all we knew.
Huge, yeah.
Yeah, so they know, and she had said that she didn't start having those issues until she was older, after she had
Stress.
Jen up, and they think it's
Stress.
Yeah.
stress, but obviously it's hereditary, but
Yeah.
it just hadn't come out in her yet. So yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, so good for Jen that she was able to meet her, biological mom, and hear the story, and how excited she was that she wanted to be able to get them to meet. She wanted the families to meet each other. And so that was just absolutely beautiful. It was just beautiful. Who'd like to take on Team Black?
I can
Anybody?
do black. I can do black. So David met another niece.
His season of
He's
Melinda.
surrounded.
Yeah.
Yes.
Melinda, who was Raylene's sister.
Oh,
And it was kind of cute when you saw Raylene standing there smiling at her.
yeah, yeah,
And,
yeah.
and for I think we all at the same, split second, we were just like, oh, he's not gonna meet his
Exactly.
mom.
I think
But
we all were disappointed. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
but
got that information though.
They did.
yeah, and he, they quickly said, that she wants to meet you, and it's just health wise,
Yeah.
she just couldn't be on the show. But then it got Dave. I'm telling you, Dave, I cried every time. I just look at the guy and I cry because
Yeah.
he just seems to be that close to crying all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so
No.
emotional.
I feel the same way.
Oh,
It makes me emotional.
I know. And so Melinda and Raylene said, we want to talk to you. We want to tell you the stories because we knew your dad, and we knew, know your mom so well. And so they showed him a video of his dad, and which, is emotional, just, it's one thing to look at a photo, but to look at a video and hear a
Yeah.
voice and see
Yeah.
movement and all that,
Yeah.
you know,
See
That's
mannerisms,
intense.
that's power. That's
yeah.
powerful. To see the
But
mannerisms and everything. Yeah.
right, and then they played a voice message from his mom, and
Yeah.
when she called him by his name, oh my God, I was like,
Oh,
at that point, I was like,
Oh, that
I
just
was gone. I was
I
gone.
lost it. I
yeah,
so lost it.
and it said he lost it. I don't
Yeah.
blame him. I mean, that really,
And it's
spoke
not
to
just
him.
tears with him, it's sobbing. And you just
It's
want to go turn
sobbing.
the
know.
television and you just want to give him a big
It's
hug.
overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then, I mean, and Eric, I'm sure will want to speak about this because he had a similar experience. They gave him something of his dad's.
Yes.
Yeah.
They gave
Oh
him
my God. I
gave him
love
that, they gave him that
Yeah.
shirt, and
I
I thought of
love
Eric. I thought of
I
Eric
thought
right
of him
away,
too. Yeah.
So,
that.
I mean,
I literally lost it when I
yeah,
saw that because
yeah.
my dad's hat, like, that meant so much to me. Like watching him like sniff it. Because that's what I
Yeah.
did.
That's
I
exactly,
wanted
yeah.
to, like, unfortunately my dad's hat was washed. His
Yeah.
shirt wasn't. I was so jealous of him at that moment.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to smell my dad. But
Right.
knowing like you're wearing that like a hug. Like
Yeah.
it's just it's I was so happy for him
Yeah.
Yeah,
at that moment.
yeah.
People ask me like, oh, it was great being on the show, but I
Mhm.
get just as much joy watching other people meet their families.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really powerful, really powerful.
Yeah.
It was so amazing. It was so amazing. And Eric, you've talked to us about your trip to Bermuda, and truly everybody you were told, everybody knew your dad and everybody
Yeah.
knew you.
And I'm going to meet, I'm going in July.
Ah,
I'm working right now in Missouri. Well, I just finished one job. I'm going to another job in about a week in Missouri.
going back.
And then, but I'm leaving in the middle of that job to go for 3 weeks to Bermuda.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
But I've met
Cool.
like 82 something cousins on my dad's side.
Whoa.
my
Oh,
gosh.
wow.
And there's like a
Yeah.
bunch more I have
Yeah.
not met.
And I can testify to that because I was in Bermuda last month and I asked people if they knew Eric's dad, and they would say, yep.
Yep.
Great.
It's the
So,
weirdest feeling, like to walk down a street and people like stop and stare at you. like they know you. I'm like, I know, I've been here for like 5 hours. I know you don't know me, but you look like you know me, you know?
Yeah. So everything he says about that, what you were told about your father was absolutely true.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely true. Oh goodness. So now we move on to Team Blue. And I wonder who wants to talk
Amazing.
about
I
Team
would
Blue?
love to comment on Team
Oh,
Blue.
you and Mary, because Mary is from Seattle.
All right, well, Mary can start, and then I'll
Okay.
fill in the blanks.
Okay.
All right, so Team Blue came to Seattle, came to my town,
Yay.
their town too. So, but they got to meet both her parents, her mother and her father, standing there right next to each
Right?
other.
And last week we were going, what are the chances that would ever
I know.
happen, right?
You heard her
And
saying that, and I'm like, there's no way. There's no way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
her mom was just so thankful that she wasn't mad,
Yeah.
and you know, had carried that fear
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Joni would have been angry with her,
Right.
and she wasn't, and so that was a blessing for the mom.
Yeah.
And her father was so excited.
Yeah.
I
And
know, he's so cute.
I
they
loved
could,
him.
you know,
He kept
as
saying
soon
that
as
heart
we
was
heard we couldn't wait, we didn't want to wait.
What
I
a sweet
loved his
man.
line about his heart was smiling, and he kept saying that all throughout. My
No,
heart
he said that multiple times. If you could see my heart right now, oh,
Well,
I
think about
saw
him though.
his
He
heart.
was out of the two of them, he was the only one that got to hold her when she was born.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
they
And
had
you
her in
know
a
that
room.
That's a
he
lot.
carried that with him until
Yeah.
that moment.
Yep.
Right, exactly. And
Yeah,
how
he thought it
sad
was
that,
the mom.
yeah.
Put up the sheets so
And
she
they
couldn't
didn't
even
have-
see
They used to do
her
that back
baby.
in the
Yeah.
day. I
Yeah.
mean, they would
Well, because
do
they didn't want
that.
the mother to take the baby back because they already
Yeah.
had a deal for the adoption.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I
It's
recently,
just-
I wasn't held. It was the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because
I
Oh, wow.
was.
I can't imagine. That just seems so cruel.
cruel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also it's tough the other way too,
Yep.
because you like what my mom, she, you know, I was born with a double hernia, and I was born with one of my legs facing backwards
Oh my
and one of
goodness.
them 360. And my mom had always said, if there's anything wrong with him, I'm going to keep him. And she did not know. And
Oh.
so there is a reverse side to that too. But you know, the Lord works in mysterious ways,
Oh.
and it seeing that joy, like I thought that, okay, that's the big, you know, I saw Team Green. I thought, okay, that's the big final day finale.
Yeah.
And
But
then we
wait,
see,
there's more.
oh, there's so much more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we
Yeah.
know if this was the first time in relative race history we've had both parents
I don't
be
remember.
met?
No, there was
there another one?
another episode. Oh, I'm trying to remember what season. I'm thinking it was the season before Thaddeus' season. So I'm thinking it was like season 10, or it was either 9 or 10, where the mother and the father came together and they were there. Like the mom, she met the girl met the mom, and then met the father, and the mom was there.
Oh,
I-
okay.
Talking
Okay.
about.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
It's like, I think it's like 9 or 10, episode 9.
And it was interesting because when they first were there, I thought, I wonder, have they been together the whole time? But no, they hadn't seen each other in
For like
decades.
25 years or something
25
like
years, yeah.
Yeah,
And that is so big of them to come together. I mean, you know, I don't know what the relationship was like or whatever. If it was a one night stand and they never saw each
They
other again.
wanted to see their child.
Yeah,
they
that's
did.
all they cared about, right?
Had that thing. They wanted to see their child.
And it
Mary?
wouldn't have been a one night stand because dad would not have held his child.
That's
Exactly.
true. That's true. You're right.
No,
So,
the love that
Good
was there
point.
was so
yeah,
obvious.
they said we just couldn't keep
Yeah,
you. I mean, so it was a joint decision.
right. And she kept saying, I understand. I'm not mad at you completely. And you did the right thing. I had a wonderful life.
When that's
Yeah.
the thing. When you have, you know, everybody's situation is different. You know, I had an amazing adoptive family, but I still had those feelings that everybody has. What about this? What's my answer to this?
Yeah.
That to me, like, I have my favorite seasons. Obviously, my season's my favorite. And Callie, getting introduced to Callie was another one of my favorites. But watching, like, Team Blue, who has not done quite well in most seasons, they finished strong, but to get to meet, like, I messaged her. I'm like, how tough was that? Like, I was so overwhelmed meeting my mom. I couldn't imagine meeting both at the same time. Like,
right.
Right. And I love too when she said thank you for being here. And her mom goes, "You betcha."
Yeah.
Because you want to, like, do they care about you? Do they want to know you?
Yeah.
And so when you get that confirmation, that's
everything.
winning the lottery.
Yeah, that's everything. That is everything. So yeah, that was beautiful. And I know this season has been really fun for Mary too, because it happened right in her backyard.
Right?
Into all those places they went.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was really fun. And she was researching along the way, so she pretty much knew where they'd be going. So does that surprise anybody? Nope.
Nope. She's a thorough lady.
Oh, it was just a beautiful.
Well,
night. Go ahead, Mary.
And I do have to say, it is a little funny to me that they were the ones that won the plane ticket.
Yeah,
because all their ancestors.
That's true.
Yeah, maybe they'll go to Hawaii.
Miles of where they live, or maybe 30.
Right. Yeah, they're gonna go to Hawaii.
That is
Hawaii.
He does have the brother in Florida.
That's
so
true. Yeah.
I mean, okay, if I'm writing the script, that's what she's using the plane ticket to go to Florida.
Exactly. It's too funny. But yeah, you're right.
I'm very jealous of that prize, but I'm very happy that that's such a great prize.
It is a great prize. It is a great prize because, it is hard and the teams aren't coming on the show and making lots of money from being on a show unless they win, right? And so it's not like they've got the funds to go and meet all these people again. So that's
tough getting out. I got lucky because my birth sister came to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And I got to see her, and I'm working in the Midwest. I'm here with my family, but like, I got family in Bermuda, I got family in Oregon, yes, I have a cousin that's 35 minutes away when I'm in Pennsylvania, which is fantastic. But like that would have been such an amazing prize.
It would have been. It would. Let's talk about since we're talking about the results. That's when we find out what they were going to do with Team Red, and it was like, are you kidding me? So but with the results, and two, when they told everybody who they'd met, everybody was just oh my gosh, and everybody was happy to see Ashley, and so that was great. But of course, like we said, Team Blue comes in number one, right? They won those tickets. So, and of course, again, they're all excited, but that's okay. You can be excited. It's day 9.
But when you're looking at teams, in the beginning, you got, okay, they come off strong or
You're
but when you get to day 6, like, some people say it's day 5, but day 5, day 6, day 7, that's when it gets tough. It's not always easy being around your teammate. And so if you watch, I never had Team Blue picked, but I'm leaning a little bit towards them because they've got that run. Exactly. Team Red, Callie had it. Thaddeus had it. Abe and I had it. Like, you're hitting that stride when everybody else is starting to get weary and getting beat up by the situation.
Exactly. So, we're worried because everybody's worried because if you get that second strike, you're going, have to be in the bottom. And so, and so Team Black actually came in second, which was wonderful. I mean, another strike wouldn't have hurt them because they are
but they're coming from coming through like LA and
Yeah.
doing that, and
That was a surprise.
that shows their determination.
Yeah, I know. I think everybody was surprised with that. And then of course we had the determination about Team Red, but then it ended up not being a bad thing for them because they ended up coming in, third because of Team Green, and it's because of that traffic. They had so much traffic, and so on day 10 it's going to be Team Green, right? Yeah, Green and Team Black. So that's going to be an interesting.
That is going to be an interesting matchup.
And it's going to depend on what kind of. Well, they're going to be driving tanks. I mean, we heard that, but what are they going to be doing?
That is absurd.
I know it's absurd.
That is absurd.
I'm so jealous right now.
It is absurd.
I've never driven a tank, and I'm a guy.
Like, season 11 with the fire. It is absurd.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be
Debenham. This is wackadoodle.
I see what you're doing.
Too far.
You're going too far.
Too far, Mr. Debenham.
So this is going to be really interesting. Tanks. What on earth? What on earth are they going to do with tanks? And yeah, he said driving them, but obstacle courses. I mean, what, who knows?
Yeah.
But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun. So what a great season. And before we end, Eric, you have a special...
I'm walking towards my mom right now.
Yeah. Eric's got a special guest that he's going to introduce us to, and we were so excited. Callie, get back here. I think she's dealing with children too, so.
Give me just a second. I'm walking.
Of course.
I was sitting in my car.
Yeah.
So it's quite a large property.
Yeah.
Everybody's like talking about, it's a glamorous life. I've been shoveling horse poop.
Oh, I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
Feeding horses and chickens and But you know what? And some people have teased me. They said you can tell you didn't grow up in the country because you're actually enjoying what you're doing.
Exactly. So we feel very special that you happen to be there, and she's agreed to say hi. So
hello. Would you like to come out and join and say hello to a few people? It smells good. I'm just smelling dinner here that Mom is preparing.
Oh, nice.
All right. Come here, Callie.
I'm coming.
Everybody say hello to Callie. I got to make sure she doesn't run off.
Hi.
Callie.
She's Callie, not
the dog.
Callie.
I was like, hi.
She's Callie, but I call her Callie way too many times. Wait. We got it.
Go ahead, Callie. There you go.
So, hello, everybody. This is my birth mom.
Hi.
Hi.
Good to meet you all.
So nice to meet you. Thank you for doing this.
Yay.
Oh my goodness. What a special guest to have on the show.
I am so lucky.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm so lucky. Blessed to have him.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
It's amazing. How did it feel for you? I mean, I feel like it's a dumb question, but you get this message that they found your son. I can't even imagine.
I know. I never thought that I figured he hated me or, didn't want to know me because I gave him away.
Yeah.
But so I looked for him, but I would never have reached out to him because I didn't want to interfere with his family. So it was amazing to me that he found me. It was wonderful. And I have to tell you, when I saw him and I put my hands on his face, 53 years of shame and guilt and fear just fell off. It was like, he's okay. He had a good family. He doesn't hate me. It was wonderful.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's so beautiful.
Thank you. I'm so blessed.
Goodness.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
And so these ladies that you're seeing here, there's a few more that are not here today.
Okay.
But they share the love of what we go through every day. They talk about every episode. And Callie, who I hope you can meet one day. That's what I'm going to see. She's here too.
We will.
There she is.
Hi.
Hello.
This is extended family.
Okay. Wonderful.
And so,
oh, I'm so glad. My family is so happy to have Eric be a part of us. And I now have his family. His mother has been so wonderful. The first Mother's Day, she called me and she said, "Isn't Eric lucky he has two moms?" Can you imagine the generosity,
Right.
the love of that? That's like wonderful. I have to ask, who is Carolina girl? Because my family's from Charleston.
wonderful.
Cheryl.
So where in Carolina?
I actually live in Myrtle Beach.
Oh, I love Myrtle Beach. I have two sisters who graduated from the University of South Carolina.
Nice.
And a brother-in-law who graduated from the Citadel.
Yeah.
And Charleston was a home for me for a while. So
it's
that's
a
so
small
nice.
world. It's a
Yeah,
small
it is.
world.
Yeah.
I told her about your experiences in Bermuda.
Yeah.
And so, how you met, got to get taken around the island by one of my dad's friends.
Right.
Who was, a big love of her life. So
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was beautiful. It was so fun. And people know him. I mean, they do. And so it was so fun.
Isn't that
It was
wonderful?
a wonderful thing because I kept asking people, do you know about Eric? Do you know about his dad? Do you know about Rip? And they're like, yeah, we do.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it was beautiful. It's been beautiful to meet you. So
Oh, thank you.
thank
Yeah.
you
Thank
so much for taking the time to say hi. And
I'm honored.
and what a perfect time. It's perfect timing for us, to
Yes.
talk about day 9 and for Eric to want to come on and for you
Yeah.
to be there.
And for him to be here.
I begged to be on.
Oh, nobody has ever begged to be on.
No, but I really wanted to be on this one. I was just,
you just reach
I didn't
out.
know, I didn't know we had Callie on as well, which is even bonus.
Yeah.
That was an amazing, she was going to watch a TV show, go to sleep, and I cried for an hour, and I came out and she was still up, and I was like, "Hi, I love you. I just need to give you a kiss because I just cried."
And I was so lucky to have him here for Mother's Day.
Yes.
His mom would share with me. Just wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Your first Mother's Day together. Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful. Wonderful.
Oh.
Well, we will let you go so you can be spending time with Eric. And so, because we pretty much come to the end of our recording tonight, and just want to thank everybody for being here. And day 10 is coming up, and who
Super
knows
excited.
what's going to happen on day 10?
I know you're the
I don't know, but I heard
genealogy
there's
ladies,
12.
but I like the excitement of day 10 too.
Exactly. And so with that, we want to tell everybody thank you, and we will see you next time on GenFriends. Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Bye.
friends.